Hello. Okay, so really the reason I'm doing this morning is I wanted to show you my super duper dope, adorable crocheted Cthulhu doll. I think he's amazing. Like, look at his little foots. His little foots are purple, and he actually has a jellyfish that I forgot to bring down. You know, and he's got like spots on his head. Oh, and he's got little wings and a tail. Like, he's just adorable. So, you know, yeah, if you are wondering, that's my Cthulhu doll that I really just wanted an excuse to show you guys this morning. So today is Wake Up Wednesday. Woo! Not gonna lie, I'm a little tired. It's a little hot in here, and I didn't realize until literally just now that I am not wearing a hair tie. So, good morning. If whoever is there could say hello. It's probably Kayla, but it might not be. Got my mug this morning. This one doesn't have any cool sayings. It just has, like, not zodiac, what the hell? Constellations on it. So that's my mug this morning. If you guys want to drop your mug, if you're drinking coffee or tea in the comments, feel free to. If you're not and you're just really done with life, you can drop a selfie too. That's totally acceptable. So my coffee keeps me going. And Harley, can you lay down, please? My dogs are in here with me. So, yes, there we go. See, I knew Kayla would show up. Okay. I know that I have a tendency to kind of go on and on a little bit before I get to the stuff because I'm hoping people will hop on. Today I have another meeting at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to try not to. That doesn't mean this will probably be 5 minutes, but, you know, it'll be what it is. If anyone has any questions here, including you, Kayla, you are welcome to ask them. As for updates and super fun things, so I know I'm sure you guys are like super sick of hearing about it. Don't worry though, you've only got like 2 more days. The Kickstarter ends Friday at Harley. The Kickstarter ends Friday. Okay, my Matthew, I don't know what you were doing here, but you need to be at work. Sorry. The Kickstarter ends Friday. And we are super close to hitting the stretch goal. That means like everyone gets the full series in audiobooks. So currently, if you are any of the top 3 tiers, like the hardback set with inserts, or the early bird, you already get the ebooks and you get the first 2 audiobooks. Like one more pledge will put us over, and we will then have the full series of audiobooks that you'll get, so that'll be super cool. Fun fact, the audiobooks are like $10 a pop typically, so that's like a super duper awesome stretch goal. And we're literally like 1 pledge from it. So if you're like thinking about it and you're like, oh, I also get the audio and I get the whole set of ebooks, like, because you do, pledge, because that would be super cool. Okay. At the next stretch goal, which we're also actually pretty close to, like, I don't have the stretch goals spaced out like 5K. I have them spaced out like it's only a couple pledges apart for each one. The payment plan tier also gets all of the ebooks and all of the audiobooks and the digital wallpapers. So yeah, like they get basically anything that is an e-reward at that tier too. And like I just said, the audiobooks alone are worth like $40. So when the payment plan tier is $75 and the audiobooks are worth $40 alone, like, pretty cool, right? I think so. Also, I'm going to be delivering all the e-rewards in September. So all of those will go out in September because the books are done. If you didn't know that and you're here, I'm not quite sure where you've been, but that's okay. We still want you here anyways. And again, this is the Kickstarter for my Demons in New Chicago series. If you are in the Patreon, at any tier in the Patreon, and you back the Kickstarter, you will get a book flower. what do these book flowers look like? Well, one, they're touched by fire specifically, so it's not like, you know, a book flower. That's what they look like. They're super pretty. I love them. So if you're in the Patreon in the back, you'll get a book flower. If you get someone to back it as well, like you recommend them, one, I can give you a link to do so, but because some of you might have already done so without the link, it's gonna be in the survey, like, did someone bring you here? If so, give me their name, and their name needs to match up of, like, you know, did you bring someone here? If so, give me their name. Like, you guys gotta match, because then you will also get a book flower. Now, what happens if you're in the Patreon and you did that? You will get 2 book flowers. You know, what's better than 1 book flower? 2 book flowers. Sorry. I'm kind of a dork if you guys haven't noticed. Like, this is probably like the 8th or 9th video I've done, and at least for Wake Up Wednesday. And I am kind of a dork, so, you know, fun things. So yeah, also the first NSFW art for the Patreon is up. Yeah, super cool. Other exclusive art is already up. There's already like a bonus scene up. And I'm going to talk to AJ shortly after this video, and see like what she's wanting to put up in the Patreon this week. One of the things we're considering is doing a tier that's like right above the top tier right now, that's going to be called like the swag tier, essentially. I don't know how interested people are in this. Big thing, Kayla, take note of that. What would be in the swag tier, you ask? It would be things like stickers, pins, you know, I literally just threw a bunch of them in here. These ones are not mine that I'm going to show you, but they are, no, I didn't just throw them in here. Okay, well, I don't have them in here, so, you know, pins, keychains. Isn't this super cute, by the way? I haven't shown these off in years, but my PA, one of my amazing PAs, Megan Kellish, who is around a little bit less now since, you know, she's got kiddos of her own in life. She created these for me. Like, isn't that super amazing? So I might get her to do more. Currently I've got Bandit and I've got Sheeperd. So these are from 2 different series. You said, okay, so Amber, I'm going to open up your comments. It says, I want to write, but I wouldn't know where to start on publishing because I don't have a lot of funds. You were quite inspiring. Wow, thank you. Like, so I'll tell you a little bit about my publishing journey then. I'll try not to make it too long. I started writing at 14. I started writing at 14 because I was bullied a lot. Yeah, you can imagine, because I'm really weird and kids are honestly kind of cruel. And by kinda, I mean are. Fun fact, you gotta teach kids empathy. But I was bullied a lot, and so reading was my escape. But here's the thing. I also didn't have tons of money growing up. My family was not wealthy. You know, my mom was a single mom for a lot of my childhood. And we didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't just go get books all the time. And we also, like, when she's working 2 jobs or whatever, I couldn't just go to the library whenever either. Now, I did when I could, but I couldn't always. And the libraries don't always have the most up-to-date books. So I eventually hit the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to write my own book because I don't have anything I can read. Like, I'm out of stuff that I can read, and I don't have the money to go buy a bunch of new stuff, and the library doesn't have tons of new stuff. So I started writing my own book. Okay, took me a year and a half to write. I finished it when I was 15, yes. Okay, I think I usually say 16, but I was 15. I set it aside, you know, I had lots of ideas for the sequel, but I kind of reworked that first book a bit before, like, over the years, and I queried, and I actually had 2 people, even when I was, like, 15, 16, that said they wanted to see more, but no publisher, like, was like, yes, I want it. You know, joke's on them. That book has gone on to do really well. But here's the part that I think is important that I want you to know, Amber. When I was 20, yes, I was 20. I was working as a waitress and I was in college. Money was super tight. I was pinching pennies. And I was saving essentially like the excess. I was saving up tips, like the little bit of extra. And it took me about 7 or 8 months to save up enough to be able to get a cover and an editor for my first book. Okay, that cover was not the greatest, and I don't say that as like any fault to the designer. Like it wasn't quite there, and like the style wasn't yet popular at the time. Like nowadays you'll see a lot of Academy covers like it, but back then that wasn't the case. You know, so I saved up and I published it, and I knew jack all about publishing. I didn't know about this whole online world of like authors and Facebook groups and things like that. Like that wasn't really a thing when I started. So I published this book like cold. Like no one, like the only people that knew about it is when I posted on Facebook, because I was so freaking proud of myself just for publishing it. You know, I got my paperback of it, and like that, it's still the only paperback. Like the very first one I got is still the only paperback that I have like of my own that I have kept, and I will never give up, like not for anyone. So, you know, I ordered a few extra copies because things like my mom and whatnot wanting one, but so that is my start. Okay. The first month that book made change. Like it was like a few dollars. It was not much. But the next month it made a little more, and I started looking for groups and places that I could like promote it and like how to promote it, because I didn't know yet. I knew like literally nothing about it. Like the things that you know now as a reader are more than I knew at the time when I like published this book. Okay. And so I found that, you know, I learned and I started implementing, and I did a little bit every month. So like whatever I made the previous month, I put that back into promos. You know, $25. Okay. So the next month I did a $25 promotion with other authors. There's also lots of free promos you can do with other authors and things. Those are a fantastic thing when you can find them. I also didn't know how to find them at the time. They were not common. You had to pay for like everything, you know? And so like every month it made a little bit more and a little bit more, and like the ball got rolling, and then it was doing well. And then I like worked on the second book and was hit with like tons of anxiety about the follow-up, like would the sequel be very good? But that is a whole other story. So that is like my publishing beginning, so to speak. You know, I understand not having the funds. I do. And when I say like I saved up for like 7-8 months to do that, I mean, it's literally like $5 here, $10 there. Like anytime any extra money that wasn't in the budget was like coming in, it ended up in essentially like, I don't have a piggy bank, but my virtual piggy bank for money of like to do that. Like I created a savings account specifically for that, I think, to be able to like be like, this is the money, you know? And I started looking for editors and whatnot, and like figuring out like all the dealio. So there's a lot more to it, and there's a lot of resources I can recommend if you're interested in like wanting to know more about publishing. Speaking of, that is also something that if people in the Patreon are wanting me to talk about certain aspects of publishing, whether it's my journey or how to do something, I am more than happy to have that also be content on there. You know, so like that's one of those things that like when I make posts, and I make them frequently, that say like, what do you want? Like, you know, well, yeah, you can comment like, hey, I want NSFW art of, my first thought was Bandit, because I'm just a smart ass. Bandit is a raccoon, for those of you that don't know. He is, I literally just had it. He is a blue raccoon. So no bestiality, bad. Like, hopefully Facebook won't ban this video for hearing that word. No, but like, let's say you want that of, you know, Piper and Ronan, because that's the first one that went up, is Piper and Ronan. I'm looking at getting it done for Queen of the Dam, but because that's 4 bodies, it takes a little more. But yeah, let's say that's what you want done. You can say that there, but you can also say things like, hey, I want to know how to find an editor. I want to know how to find a good cover artist that's not like $1 billion trillion. I'll tell you the secret on that one. When you find them, tell me, because cover art is it's hard to find good ones that are cheap, and that changes like every 3-4 months. But I do have some recommendations that are like, under $200, under $100 kind of dealio. What are, top 5 things I wish I would have known? I am not a good person to talk about, like, in terms of, like, how to write a book. There are much better resources, and I am more than happy to publish those here if you guys are interested. I have books on them on my shelf that I read. There are Facebook groups, there are podcasts, there are YouTube channels. Like, I have resources for all of that if that's what you guys want, I am more than happy to put that in a post. I can even try to put it in this post. It's just going to take me, like, I say this post, the update post for Wake Up Wednesday, if that's something you want. So, like, I just need you guys to tell me if that's something that you're interested in. I always assume that no one really cares how I started. They just want to know about the next book. Like, I know that sounds really self-deprecating, but I don't mean it that way. You guys are readers. I don't expect you to care about all of the other ins and outs of things. And while I love if you do, like, feel like you have some sort of connection to me as an author, which is part of why I do these videos, because I want you guys to, like, see me, know me, kind of, like, I say kind of. I like really, like, personable meet and greets with readers. That's one of the things I'm actually looking forward to with Imaginarium, which is the signing I'm going to this next year. Also, Royal Book Bash. So Imaginarium is already sold out. I'm like 90% certain, but that 10% says you should take a look if you're interested. That one's in DC. They limit the tickets so that there's not like super long lines. And if I want to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to talk to a reader, I can. That is how I like to interact with my readers. I really don't care for ginormous, like, I went to Book Bonanza, and while Book Bonanza is freaking amazing as a reader, it is amazing, and I've never been as an author, so I can't comment, and I would be so thrilled still. I feel like I would have so much anxiety, even though I would be thrilled, because I wouldn't get to really talk to you guys. I would feel like it's, like, just the constant, like, smile, sign, hi, how are you, next, like, I don't want to feel like a drive-through, and I feel like that's kind of what really big signings can sometimes be. Now, when you're just wanting, like, autographs, like, that's awesome, like, that is perfect for that. I also highly recommend, if you just care about, like, you want the autograph, like, there are signed books, and because so many people asked me the last few years if I would ever do, like, signed books again, because I used to do periodic, like, Google Forms, I created a store, and I periodically upload new stuff to them. And people asked about special editions, and so now I'm doing, like, the Kickstarter and whatnot, and I did the Reject Me Kickstarter. So, like, all of these things happen because you tell me what you guys want. Tell me what you want. Like, that is what I need from you. That is what I need. Because I will try to do my best to give it to you. It is literally my job. Like, it's my job to write stories and whatnot, but y'all don't realize that writing is, like, 30% of my job. Okay, I wish it was like 90%. It's not, because the reality is I have to market myself, and, like, whoops, that was an alarm. Thank God it did not go off on my iPad. That would have sucked. But yeah, like, I have to market for myself. I have to do my own ads. Like, I have to do all of these things myself. So, like, writing is only 30% of it. There's not enough time in the day to make it more than that. So yeah, Amber, I am really happy that is helpful. It seems like it's helpful. You didn't say helpful, but you said that's awesome, and you never thought of doing it that way. So I'm hoping that means it's helpful for you, because that is my goal. So yeah, speaking of special editions people ask for, there is a book box. I think you can still pre-order it. That's with, oh God, Nerdy Book Box. Nerdy Book Box. I think it's Nerdy Book Box. They've posted several times in the group. These just arrived. They are for them, and they need to be signed. you know, but it's a special edition. Currently, you cannot get these online anywhere. You can only get them from the Nerdy Book Box. The second book will be available as well. I actually just uploaded it so that I can get proofs of it soon. And I just spilled my coffee on my I say really nice. It's not really nice. It's like a $50 rug. But you know, $50 is nice. Oh, good God. Okay, I'm going to use my shirt. Don't judge me. Because this rug is like white. It's white and gray. Okay, but like it's spilled on the white part. So I'm like, ugh. Okay, well, you know, at least I'm wearing a t-shirt. You said, well, when I do get to reading more of your books, I'm happy to share on my Bookstagram. I love that. You know, tag me. I try. Okay, so here's the thing is I'm really bad that I won't always respond. But if you tag me, I am much more likely to see it, even if it's a day, 2 days, 3 days late. Okay, and I try to go through and I try to like all of those. I try to respond them and I try to repost them sometimes too. And if you do a story, I almost always share your story. So like, you know, like I do my very best to support any Bookstagrammers that also support me. Like that is, you know, hey, do not start your bullshit. I don't want to hear it. I'm on call. This is a very important meeting, Sterling. Hi, Courtney. I'm sure you are well familiar. Courtney in the comments here also has dogs who would be like at the slightest thing. Yes, and this book is lovely. Also, the Nerdy Book Box. Like, I know a lot of book boxes are kind of expensive. Theirs is not. So they'll have this book. And then you will be able to get the other books in series. They will not be available on Amazon, though. We're only going to sell these on our website or with book boxes. So, the Demons in New Chicago paperbacks will also be available on my website. So I can literally put these up today since I do have them. Oh, look what I found. A super cool thing. It's an art insert. So that's like the art insert. That's the illustrated art that's on the hardcover. So yeah, like that's a thing. Nerdy Book Box. I really like some of the stickers and like pins and stuff that they did because they've already sent us the designs. I really love some of the bookmarks. So they're like a cool one, definitely a cool one. Also, so another weird thing, I had people comment on the Kickstarter where they're like, oh, I usually do insert X box, like the bookish box or Fay Crate or Book Crate or, you know, an insert thing like that. Those things you usually have to be invited to. I can't just say, hey, I want to do your thing and then get to do it. So how do I get invited? You guys have to tell them that you want my books, flat out. I'm sorry, I hate to ask readers to do anything, but if that's something you want, that's what you've got to do. Because I am not often like asked to do that, and I am so like, if you're watching this Nerdy Book Box, I am so thankful and grateful, there's the word, that you guys asked us, because I love doing them. I will do my best to get you what you need. I will try my best to do it in a timely manner. Like, I will be there, and I will do pretty much any book you want if you want to do a book box. As long as you're a legit book box, you know, looking at scammy people. Don't be scamming me. My scammy radar. I'm like Polito from, Despicable Me Too. If you don't know what that is, you should watch it. My child's now obsessed with the Minions, so we've been watching it a lot. So yes, book boxes. If you want me in them, you do have to tell them. Because otherwise, it's always... I feel like this sounds bad. It's always going to be the same series you see. It's going to be the series that are in the top, you know, top 10 series that you see in them over and over, and they have like 30 different versions of special editions. And those series are amazing. They sell well because they're amazing, and that is great. But you don't tend to see books that are not like that if you don't recommend them. So in that sense, it's not just me. If you have another author that you're like, oh my God, I love this author, they are amazing. Like, why are their books never talked about? Why are they never having special editions? Recommend them to book boxes if that's what you want. Special editions are really freaking expensive. I'll tell you right now, Like, the amount that I am paying for the Kickstarter special editions would pay for a car. And I'm not just talking like a Craigslist car. I'm talking like a nice-ass car, okay? It is a lot of money, which is the reason I have to do a Kickstarter and the reason the prices are what they are. This is not just because Kel is, like, making a money grab. That's not me. In case you haven't noticed, I wouldn't offer a payment plan if that was me. I want to give you guys those things, but they're really expensive. And so part of the reason it's done the way it is because I had to pick the books or series that also have the most, like, readers, quote unquote. So Demons in New Chicago is, like, one of my all-time bestsellers, which is why that one got one. Reject Me is the all-time bestseller for both me personally and me and Aurelia. Queen of the Damned, which is an add-on. And fun fact, if you want just the Queen of the Damned, and you're like, I don't really want the Demons in New Chicago, you can do the ebook tier and still get the Queen, and then get the add-on of the Queen of the Damned, I believe. So, that is the thing. Ugh. How did I end up with fuzz in my mouth? I think it's fuzz. Nope, it's a hair. Sterling. So Sterling. He's so fuzzy. You appreciate the payment plan. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I will say this. I also want to tell all of you guys, one, like, thank you so much for how well this Kickstarter has done. We actually reached the goal of funding the books. Now, at the moment, I've broken even flat out, which is why they're, like, the things I'm offering are things that I have to offer, because it's got to do higher for me to do more. But, like, thank you so much, because I was so nervous it was going to bomb and do terrible. And, like, all of those fears that you have with things, you know, like when you go to your interview for a new job and you're like, what if I bomb? Or you apply for vet school and you're like, what if I don't get in this year? Like, so, you know, it was that kind of feeling for me. I had so much anxiety, not gonna lie, I almost threw up that morning. So, I was super nauseous. I feel so much better about it, and I am so thankful for you guys. Second, lots of people asked for the payment plan, and you guys came through. You guys actually backed the payment plan. Like, one, like, yes, the early bird tiers and the other tiers are super important, like, because without those tiers, I don't have the guarantee or the income to pay for the initial books. But you guys did actually, if you wouldn't have been able to back those, back the payment plan. And what that tells me is that I can do payment plans in the future for other things. Because I want to. Like, you remember you know that story I told you like 20 minutes ago about the girl that was 14 and had no money, which is why she started writing her own book. I want to give you payment plans where I can for that reason. Because I know what it's like to be broke AF. Like, I do. I know what it's like to be broke AF. I really get it. Like, I'm sure you look at my pretty office behind me and you're probably like, Kel, you're full of crap. This took a lot of really long days and nights and whatnot. Also, this wallpaper, I installed this crap myself. I got it off Wayfair, and while it is super forgiving because you wouldn't believe the number of times I actually messed up and then had to like go in and like cut little squares with my X-Acto knife and place them of the same exact tree form. You can't tell unless you're like this close to it. Like, it's the best wallpaper ever. Fun fact. So yeah. I think that covers everything. I think so. So, unless you guys have more questions, I will let you go. I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds, 40. Oh, yes. I will give you, you know, a minute, because what I'm going to do in the meantime is show you what I've been working on. So you see the flames. Okay, so, like, this is a copy of Covet Me that I have been painting the end pages of. So right now, I don't know if this looks as much like a phoenix as I wanted. Like, I did the purple flames and I did like the phoenix. I'm gonna have to work on it more. Not gonna lie, I feel a little self-conscious, so don't be an asshole in the comments if you think it's ugly, but like, I've been working on it. Watercolors are a bit harder with certain things, like fine details, they can be more difficult, but I'm still in progress on this, and this is the copy of Worship Me that I'm currently working on. So one of the fun things I'm doing for myself is I'm going to start doing end pages that are, there we go. Oopsie daisy. I hope it didn't freeze for you guys. So that is one fun thing. Two, the second thing, people asked because I showed you the super amazing German cover for Daisley. You wanted to see what the French one was. Okay, so I'm honestly like so in love with both of these covers. Like, so the French one came first, and the German publisher loved it so much. You can see how it inspired the German one. So that is my French and German editions of Daisley, and I am freaking in love with them. And Daisley is coming to Portuguese soon, so I will soon have editions of that. And I also hope they are super gorgeous and pretty like these, because, like, I love it. Like, I love it so much. It's so pretty. I only get a couple editions as an author, so I, like, hoard them. Like, my mom gets one, and I have one, and then the other one I keep in case, like, something bad happens, like a fire, but then it's like, if a fire happened, wouldn't that kill all of them? Like, it's not great logic, but it's my logic, so those are my super pretty editions that I promised I would show you guys, and now I have. So, I am not seeing any more comments or questions, so I'm gonna let you guys go, and I hope you guys have a super amazing Wednesday. One thing, Aurelia, I'm only going to take 30 seconds to say this, and then I am actually going. One thing is me and Aurelia are looking at doing a thing like this, but for recommendations. Either recommendations overall of books that, like, we're literally reading, have read, or just contemporary. Fun fact, Aurelia and I read a lot of contemporary romance, arguably more contemporary romance than fantasy or P&R these days. I don't know why that is, it just is. So one of the things that we've been thinking about is potentially doing something, and I was like, what if I did a newsletter? And then I was like, no one wants to subscribe to another newsletter. Like, we've got our one newsletter that's good enough. So, like, if you subscribe to it, cool. Like, my newsletter, I do put stuff in there. I do sometimes do giveaways and things, like, whatnot. And I was like, what if we created a Facebook group? And I'm like, no, I'm already in like 300 and something Facebook groups. Like, no more Facebook groups. Like, one Facebook group is enough. That's the reason we combined both our Facebook group and our newsletter. Fun fact. And so I'm thinking of doing something similar to Wake Up Wednesday. I don't know if it's going to be a video or post. Like, I'm not entirely sure, but we're thinking about it. And if you have any ideas, thoughts, feelings, like, I would love for you to drop them in the comments, just because this is a new idea, and while, like, the last video, lots of people were super interested in what I thought was truly dark, since I said that I didn't think Haunting Adeline was, like, the darkest thing ever. It's not to me. And also, like, what I actually read, because it's pretty different than what I write. So if you are interested in that, and you also like to read contemporary, or if you just read fantasy but you still want recommendations of things that I literally have read and will talk about like this, because I talked about Fourth Wing last time, let me know. So thank you, Courtney. I love seeing them in different languages too. Thank you, Courtney Delgado. I love the colors as well. Hi, Amanda. I am just finishing this video, but as soon as I finish, I'm going to post it so you guys can watch the replay. Glad you've said that about Haunting Adeline. I was going to get it. Here's the thing, is it is a dark romance. It is not the darkest romance I've read, though. Like, I feel like the internet hyped it. It's like, oh my god, it's the darkest thing ever. There is nothing darker. False, okay? False, flat out false. I have read way darker. I say way, like, also darkness is really, like, vague and, like, did you ever find out who is narrating the audiobook through Tantor? I know that Teddy Hamilton is one of the narrators. I think he's doing 2 of the books. 2 of them. I know Bridget Bordeaux is doing... She's either doing Covet Me or Worship Me. I'd have to look. I will post that, so I'm going to post a Wake Up Wednesday updates. I have not read Sick Fucks yet, but I would like to, because that seems like something I'm really up in my business. Currently I'm reading God of Ruin by Rena Kent, and I am so freaking about it. TBR Thursday, yes, although really it's like, I came up with another word for it the other week. It was like, essentially like, never gonna... I'll remember it, or I'll look back and remember it. I think it was like BLE or something, but I don't remember what it stands for now, so Oh, beyond life expectancy. That's what it is. Instead of TBR, it's beyond life expectancy. But I don't think that that'll work for a day of the week. So TBR Thursday sounds great. I think that's a good idea. Thank you, Courtney. But yes, so I'm glad to see I'm not the only one that loves dark stuff. I adore it. The couple of times I've kind of dabbled in dark, and when I say dark, I don't find it dark, but I know that lots of readers think it's dark. A lot of my audience was like, no, backtrack. So I, am doing more like what you're seeing right now. Because again, I listen to you guys and what you want. But yeah, so I think maybe we'll do a TBR Thursday. That sounds really cool. As for narrators, I will post them in the Wake Up Wednesday updates because I am going to post that today. And I will have like all the updates from this one. And if there were updates that were in this one, like not in this one that I had over the last month, I will post those as well because I haven't posted one in like a month. Very nice. Did you suggest? Yes, that is another thing. When you guys tell me the narrators you want, I tell Tantor, this is my short list of narrators. Get me one of these narrators or it's a no-go. Like, that is literally how I approach this. I advocate for you because I don't listen to audio. So if you tell me, if I get 10, 20, 50 people that say, I want X, I said, I am only going to settle for this. Like, okay? So that is another thing. Like, I listen to you guys so much, and I don't know if you realize it. So I want you to know that, like, at least with this author, you are heard because I don't listen to audio. But I sell, like, the vast majority of my audio to Tantor, and I tell them, here is a list of 4 male narrators. Pick one, but it has to be one of the 4, and I will not settle for anyone else. Like, that is how I went about it with all of the Immortal Vices and Virtues books. So, that's understandable. I didn't know that's how it worked. I don't know that that's how it works, but that's how it works for me, because I'm like, I want this for my readers. I'm not going to settle for a narrator that none of you want. Like, that's just how that is. Otherwise, I'll say don't do it, flat out. Like, like, I do this for you guys, so I'm going to get what you guys want. That's how it looks. So, yeah. On that note, I will let you go. It's awesome that we now have more people, and I appreciate you guys. You can rewatch this video here in about 2 seconds because it's going to go back on the thing. Just refresh your Facebook a couple times and it'll show up, and then you can watch it from the beginning and skip around if you want. So have a fantastic